Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday morning. It's 8 a.m. And what does that mean? Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, it's trash talk.
Means I'm up too early and I don't want to be up.
Yeah. Why did we schedule this for 8 o'clock in the morning anyway?
That was your fault.
That was my fault. Oh,
Yes.
okay. And we've never sat down at the conference table to discuss a new contract, have we?
No, we haven't. We're just
All
running
right.
off the old
All
contracts from two
right, I'll
years
have
ago.
my people call your people. But anyway, if we were to meet like at noon, then what good would the idea of having a cup of coffee and talking trash early in the
That-
morning?
That's true. We got to get the day going. You know what I mean?
That's right. I mean, there are probably some people that can't even start their day without us.
That's true. A lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that one of those people actually is our good buddy David Jordan over at the Patriot Sandwich Company. I don't
Yeah.
think he can start his Tuesdays without us. He's probably cutting up the meats right now, slicing the cheeses and baking the bread and everything for his sandwiches while he's listening to Trash Talk, and we sure appreciate that. And if you haven't made it over there to the Patriot Sandwich Company over in Denton, and I'll make a trip over there. And if you live in the Frisco area, you can go over to the American Coffee and Tea Company, and you can find those delicious sandwiches right there. Good
That's
stuff.
true. Get a cup of coffee, have a sandwich, take it home, and just enjoy it. Look, before we get diving in, I want to let everybody know I re-upped on our stickers. So
All right.
we've got some more. Excuse me. We got some more in the mail. If you guys would like a sticker, all you've got to do, there you go. All you've got to do is email us or go ahead and follow the links and click on comment and all that good stuff. You can find us on Instagram. We're everywhere. We post these links everywhere. So just make a little comment, say, hey, I want a sticker, and slide into my DMs, and I'll send you one. So,
Hey, you know where I put my sticker?
no,
On the back of my phone.
there you go.
Right on the back of my phone.
I can't confirm or deny that there's not a few stickers at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. I can't confirm or deny that they might have made it to a couple airports over the last couple of weeks.
You visited there and you went around and you just slapped people on the back saying, hey, how you doing, buddy? And right now they got a sticker on the back of their shirt.
I didn't want to sit there and mess up that beautiful arena, but I did see a sticker posted for a radio station that I won't say. And I was like, dude, if they're going to post that. So
yeah. Boom. And there, a couple of flight attendants also have a sticker on the back of their uniforms.
They said no smoking in the bathroom. They didn't say anything about putting stickers in the bathroom.
That's right.
What are you going to do?
In fact, you put one of the stickers over the no smoking sign.
There might be the life of an. I might have really been a dumb criminal though, because I did put some life of an average Joe stickers on there, but that also says featuring Brandon Novara. So. Oops.
That's funny. Hey, I guess maybe the hint of who's sitting over your shoulder, as well as what's behind me, is kind of a tip as to what we thought we'd talk about today, and that was the direction that our vehicles are going. Everything seems to be
the dumpster.
Well, give it a couple of years, and a lot of these electric vehicles that are supposed to be the talk of the town, I still contend. I've heard stories that they're great vehicles. They're as quiet as can be, but nobody really knows the lifetime of those batteries that come with the vehicle. So if you're leasing, fine, you're probably okay. But if you're buying one of those vehicles, you don't know if a few years down the road you may have to replace the battery, and they ain't cheap.
Yeah. There's a couple of things with those vehicles, like the hybrid ones where it's like a 50, I don't know the exact split. I'm not a scientist. I can't figure that out. But, like the way that they do it, because I think my parents have one that's one of those like gas and electric. I kind of understand those. I think those are kind of cool. I mean, the idea of them where you're kind of like, okay, look, I'm getting the best of both worlds.
That's right.
I think there's something to that. I'm not an anti-electric vehicle guy. I'm not anti it. I think the idea of it's cool. Look, it's about to be 2023, and I'm still waiting for the flying cars because according to the Jetsons, we should have had them by now. So,
Oh, you want a flying car? Here, wait a
yes,
minute. I got you. I got you a flying car.
I mean, granted, people can't drive, so flying is probably creepy, but yeah. See, that's real. I've seen that.
This is a prototype right now of a flying vehicle, which I think is really cool. Except, where are you going to park it at the mall? You're going to just fly into the mall and park it in a spot.
They have those roof landings.
Yeah, but and if you're stuck on the expressway, I can understand, as long as you got enough room on either side. Just pop open those wings and say, "Hey, I ain't going to sit here bumper to bumper. I'm just going to take off and head on down
Yeah,
the highway."
those wings are a little extreme.
Yeah, but they fold back, and
Yeah,
then the rear spoiler and all comes down, and it looks like you're just driving any other normal
well,
Ferrari or something.
if you take those wings off, that does look like the Jetsons cars,
Yeah,
and they just hovered and they did everything peacefully. So I'm okay with electric cars. My confusion on the electric cars is a lot. Number one, it's the charging stations that, let's be real. Okay, even now, as electric cars have gone up by people have purchasing them and the movement towards electric cars, we live in a very populated area. Okay,
right. Absolutely.
there's not that many charging stations around me. I know of one, and I didn't even know of it. I just, found it out. I know of one near me, and I know there's others, but you go there and it's like two little, we'll call them stations, pumps, whatever. There's two little pumps. Okay. How many people live around where I live that have electric cars? More than two.
That's right.
So, and then what about when you're driving out of town? What if you hit this stretch? There isn't any. I mean, there's just too many variables right now that they're doing this monster push for cars, but then they're having issues with the charging stations. Look at California. They push for these electric cars, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, our power grid sucks. We got to hold back on electricity. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they're mandating that we go all electric, but I don't think they're putting in enough of the charging stations. You're right about something. For instance, uh, and there's lots of aspects to this we're going to get into. Uh, if you go to, like, there are movie houses that have charging stations, and they have
I've seen those.
maybe 6 charging stations. And to your earlier point, there's more than 6 people in the theater watching movie. There's hundreds of people in there, and if a half a dozen or a dozen of them have an electric vehicle, there's only 6 stations. So some guy's charge is getting a little bit low. He can't just sit there in the parking lot waiting for somebody else to come out of the theater, get into their electric vehicle, and drive off so he can get to the charging station.
Right.
There is a limited number of them. I noticed not long ago that at one of the big box stores, they have put in charging stations. And
Yeah.
you know what they did? They
Huh.
put the charging stations in where the handicap parking was,
Oh, that's nice.
because those are a little bit wider spaces and all. And then they moved the handicap parking further away from the door. Now, where does that add up in your mind?
Well, it shows how much they don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
One.
here's some guy who really needs to access to the store a little bit closer to his vehicle because he's handicapped and all, but yet he's got to sacrifice his handicap parking place to somebody and their $80,000 to $120,000 vehicle, so that they've got the convenience of plugging in and going into the store.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because, well, and let's think about this real common denominator here. As human beings, and as really more than we like to admit, people can't even remember to charge their cell phones, their tablets, their their Apple Watches.
until
You
it's too
don't
late.
think that they're, I mean, people, those are important features. A cell phone is important. You think that they're not going to charge their phone. So you're going to get this mad rush of driving going, oh my God, I forgot to charge it.
And what happens if you're on the highway and all of a sudden you look down, you realize that you see E coming up on your battery charge, and you are probably 20, 30, 40 miles away from the next exit. And what happens if you run out of charge in the middle? I don't know. Have they come up with rescue vehicles to come out that can charge you on the spot?
Well, I think Tesla has. Yeah, I actually do think. But again, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't see myself getting a Tesla anytime soon here.
Yeah.
The average Joe can't afford a Tesla, can't afford what he has now.
I'll tell you, I did have a hybrid vehicle for a while, a sedan. And the first thing you got to get used to is the quiet, because it doesn't make any noise. But you're right, it's the best of both worlds. You do put gas into the car and all, but the gas is there to really help you start the vehicle. And when you accelerate, the gas kicks in. If you're on a highway traveling, you put it in cruise control, and now the battery, which is fully charged, takes over. As soon as you get into a city and you start, stop, start, the gas kicks in. And while it's powering the vehicle, it's also recharging the battery part. And
I think those are great.
Yeah, I was averaging maybe 50 miles a gallon. So if gas gets more expensive, it's more practical to have the hybrid. And the electric vehicle, I'm not quite sold on, because they don't even know that the range is anywhere between 200 and 500 miles on a full charge. So, I mean, obviously, if you're going to get a car that's going to go 500 miles on a charge, it's going to be a real expensive one. Maybe, but I'm not convinced yet that it's a good car. If all you're going to do is drive around the city, I understand it. Come home. But to recharge, it averages, and are you ready for this? To recharge an electric vehicle can be as little as 30 minutes and as much as 12 hours.
Okay, so here's that's a huge gap. That's like saying, hey, your wait time is 30 minutes or 12 hours. That's a monstrous gap. So 30 minutes is great. You can go to the bathroom, get a bite to eat. You can whatever, sleep. 12 hours if you're at your house charging. Okay. Yeah. You better time it right. Or if you're at work and you have an 8-hour day or something, maybe. But again, the resources have to be there for them to have the charging stations, have the ability to charge that. And speaking of resources, let's not forget the batteries themselves, what they contain. The demand for those raw materials, what we need in those batteries, is already on the rise, and we haven't even scratched the surface. We already know.
I heard it could be between what, $18,000 and $25,000 to replace one of those batteries. And we're all supposed to be ecology minded. What do you do with the old battery?
Okay, that's the other thing. But what if you do if alkaline and every other material that's in there is already suffering a loss? Look, it's not just going to appear.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just make more of that material. So when they're getting these raw materials for those batteries that we don't know where to dispose of them, I mean, nobody's thinking about that. To me, I understand the idea of pulling away from gas.
Yeah.
I get it. Look, you want to talk about the environment? Fine. I'm not one of these tree huggers that everything's got to be about the environment, but I'm not an idiot either. I understand, know?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of it, really, in my opinion, is a big giant game. So we are going to shift away from gas to do electric because it's better for the environment, cost effective, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, though, we're going to deplete these other resources that are raw materials that we're not going to be able to make any more of. Then what happens? Like, nobody's thinking. It's a game. It's a political
It's
game.
a new innovation. And it's like when the next iPhone comes out. Everybody wants it because of all the new features. So now, the old gas-powered cars aren't as popular anymore. I want the newest thing that's out there.
Well, and then the other thing is, like, look, you're sitting there going, you're mandating. You can't mandate that all cars are going to be electric. Like, you can't do that, because are you going to go ahead and give me a car? Are you going to make it affordable for me?
And stop and ask yourself too. Let's assume that within a few years, and all 50% of the cars on the road are electric.
Okay.
If you go to the mall, or you go to the downtown area where we live, we've got a beautiful little downtown area on Main Street. Can you imagine what Main Street, USA is going to look like, lined up with charging stations to handle this rise of electric vehicles that are being mandated by the government?
They don't even have crosswalk signs where we are. You think they're going to have charging stations?
Yeah. And also, I'm not even sure. Do you pay for those charging stations? I mean, some places.
Well, I don't think so. So my dad did a charge up just to see. He just wanted to kind of see, like, we were eating dinner somewhere local, and there was a charge up station when they came to visit over the summer. There was a charge up station, so he went to that charge up station just to charge his whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He didn't pay. It was just there.
Oh yeah, I know that it's complimentary at most places, but
for now,
notice that they're advertising this thing called EV Go or something, electric vehicle Go, and I can't believe that they're going to have all these charging stations, and just like
it's going to be money.
Yeah, you're going to have to put your credit card in, and you're going to ask for 30 minutes worth of charge.
Look, they're going to do like a pass, like it's like a toll tag.
Yeah,
and they're going to look, they charge you to put air in your tire. They are charging you for freaking air.
Right.
Air.
Oh, speaking of air, now I got a vehicle for you.
Great.
All right. How do you like this?
I just don't even want to drive. I can't see it.
Can you see it?
What in the world? I saw one of those. I thought they delivered pizzas.
Yeah. They're air cars. They run on condensed air.
Who can fit in there, Luke?
Well, yeah, well, it's a one or two. It's kind of the next evolution of the smart car.
That's stupid.
I saw one being tested and all, and I mean it's a cool idea, and certainly you could park it anywhere.
It looks ridiculous.
It doesn't run on anything but an air cylinder, except you got to buy the air cylinders. And also, where do you keep the extra cylinder? There's no.
What do you keep in there at all? And how do you crouch over? Like, it looks like a lunchbox. Yeah. Do I buy that for Luke to drive around the yard? That's the stupidest. Yeah. They're like, here, we got this great idea. It's an air car, but you know what? Only a toddler can use it, so don't even bother.
Well, but
it's $100 million.
It comes with an attachment. You can cut your grass with it.
Right. It literally looks like the Roombas that vacuum my house. It's the new evolution of the Roomba.
Yeah. Well, one thing is for sure, that technology continues, and as much as we look at it and go, what? It's happening. And the guy over your shoulder he's made a fair amount of money off of it.
The guy over my shoulder, I do think he's a Bond villain. I think there's something. I think he's weird. He might be alien. He is by far a super smart, amazing, like he is. I don't care what people think of him. He really is. I love that everybody's up in arms that he bought Twitter. So I'm all for him buying Twitter, and I want to see everybody get offended. I'm happy. I say, screw it. Twitter's a cesspool anyway. So it's not like he did anything different. People are like, oh, he's going to allow hate speech. I don't know
Yeah.
if anybody knows this. Have they been on Twitter? Because Twitter's been hate speech for years.
Yeah, I think they just added a pretty face to their logo.
I'm for it. I'm also for him saying "screw you guys" and giving people the middle finger. Like, I love that. But unfortunately, though, you're right. He is the leader in this technology, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I read that a lot of the people working at Twitter were making a lot of money, and
Doing nothing.
they're out driving Teslas. Then they get a pink slip from Elon Musk. They get fired and have to pack up their stuff in their desk and go out and drive home in their Tesla.
You know what's really funny? Look, I don't want people to get fired, but whatever. I think it's hilarious that he fired something like 200 employees in one day, and Twitter was literally being run by like now 30 people, and it's doing just fine.
Yeah, and a lot of those people left and got other jobs very, very quickly. And then he sent out a memo saying either be in the office on Friday morning or find a new job. And most of them had already found a new job.
I love it. I love that he fired. I don't know, man. Like clean it up. Like, you know what? He banned Kanye again. So
yeah, but that's an off and on thing too.
Obviously, he's not, anti that. He's like, whoa, yeah. Kanye, you took it too far.
And you can't call him Kanye anymore. He's just
Ye. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ye or Ye or whatever.
Yeah, Ye. What Ye? I need my coffee. Yeah. Who cares what he is? I don't even care. Okay, just get him off my screen. Like, I'm tired of seeing it. But anyway, back to technology.
Yeah.
His words about it. Even a guy with Tesla, if you listen to him, he talks about the cons of it. This is a man who's made his living off that, talks about the cons of it. So obviously we're not fully there yet. I think there's some great things that can come from these electric cars. I just think people are jumping the gun fast because it's the cool thing to do, and they don't realize the ramifications of it.
Yeah. I like most other new technology, I'd like to give it a few years, let it work out the kinks and everything before I get involved. But our next car, I'm seriously thinking of going the hybrid route because it's like we said at the onset of the show, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
I feel that way too.
Really good gas mileage. You're still using a little bit of gas. It's battery powered, and a lot easier to maintain. So
I agree.
I'll tell you what else is very, very easy to maintain, and that is this show. Because all you got to do is get up, pour yourself a cup of coffee on Tuesday morning at 8:00, and sit down and catch Brandon and Stuart on Trash Talk. Okay,
that's right.
Good deal. Good for you. Good for me. All right. Catch you next time. Bye.